Hello. Helldivers 2 finally got its second Warbond. There are new guns, there's a new grenade, and other things. Exciting. So, how is it then? Are the guns actually good? Is it worth spending your hard-earned money on? Well, I've been playing around with the new toys for a few days, and I have some thoughts on them. This isn't going to be a numbers breakdown, I don't have an Excel spreadsheet prepared for you. Instead, I'll be going through how the gear performs in a practical scenario, aka playing the actual game. This is the part where I shove a huge disclaimer in your face. Everything here is my opinion, which I'm forming based on my experience and my playstyle. I'm going to call some of the weapons bad, but for some people they might be S-tier picks, because everyone has a personal preference and expectations from their video game weapons. With that being said, here's what I thought about the new Warbond. Let's start with the most exciting part, the new weapons. The Sickle is an automatic laser gun. It has a heat mechanic of the other laser weapons, but it handles like an assault rifle. It even has the same scope as a Liberator. It also sounds like an assault rifle. Like the Scythe, it has a heat mechanic, but also 6 entire battery mags on backup. So in a less intense firefight, you can try to carefully manage it and watch that it doesn't overheat. But if you're up ass creek, you can just dump magazine after magazine and not be worse for wear. And just like you would expect from a laser rifle, it has almost zero recoil. That doesn't mean it has perfect accuracy though. Your shots will go out a distance due to the slight spread the shots have. It's manageable, but you're not going to be sniping heads at super long range. It's not quite a DMR. As for the damage, it's surprisingly decent. Of course, you have no real armor penetration, but you fire a lot of shots, and your DPS is actually pretty high thanks to the low recoil. So, most of your shots will hopefully land on target, and allow you to kill things faster than with something like the Liberator. There is a slight delay before you get to shoot, but it's never gotten me into trouble in all the time I've used it so far. Another quirk is that the gun doesn't actually start cooling down immediately, it takes a second or two. There is an indication when the heat bar is on the edge of overheating, but waiting for it to cool down in the middle of a fight might not be the best idea. So sometimes you're better off just maxing it out and reloading the heatsink. You don't really have to worry about the heat as much as you think you would. If you save a magazine, then great. If not, you have 5 more and the ammo boxes are plentiful most of the time. Kind of a weird balancing feature considering that this gives it the best ammo economy out of all the primaries, but I'm not gonna complain. Its biggest drawback is that on desert planets your heat builds up quicker, but the opposite is true as well, and it becomes an even better gun on cold planets. So, it's like the Liberator and Scythe except better. In fact, I'd call it a direct upgrade. All 3 guns fill the same role of a primary assault rifle, except that the Sickle has a much better handling, consistent good damage, and theoretically infinite ammo. It deals a good amount of DPS and doesn't have any extreme drawbacks like killing you and your friends if you use it wrong. Doesn't matter if you're fighting bugs or bots, it's good against both factions. Coincidentally, it's the weapon that I have the most footage of. It's good. Fucking bitch. Next up is a plasma shotgun. Initially, I wrote in my script that it's the worst weapon in the Warbond and possibly the worst primary in the whole game. But after a few more days of playing with it, I came to the conclusion that the concussive Liberator is probably worse. So how does it actually work then? Well, it functions similarly to the Scorcher rifle. The Scorcher shoots bolts of plasma that have medium armor penetration, good accuracy, and good damage. Its downsides are a low magazine size and the fact that if you fire it at an enemy that's too close, you'll explode and die. The shotgun keeps the negatives and adds some exciting new ones. It fires globally plasma balls that have a huge drop-off and the travel time of a particularly slow glacier. The balls themselves are smaller than you'd think too, so you grab a shotgun, aim slightly above the enemy's heads because you're a smart boy and know how gravity works, and then the ball just sails through their enemy's legs. Or it goes past them, or it goes in front of them, and you look like an idiot. There's a bit of an AoE on the explosion, so that can make missed shots feel less painful, and after a couple of days of using the gun, I was able to land my balls onto the enemies more consistently, but it never reached a point where I felt satisfied with the weapon. It does have medium armor penetration, just like the normal Scorcher, and the strength of that remains. You can kill bug guards and commanders very quickly, with the bonus of stunning them on hit. You can also kill heavier enemies like the bot tanks if you hit their vents. There's also a technique to killing chargers with it, but unless you set that up with the stun grenade that's also in this Warbond, you're probably not going to pull it off. I certainly didn't. Let's chalk that up to skill issue, I guess. So the gun has a bit of support capability, which is nice. Dealing with medium armored enemies can be tricky, and having a gun that's more suited to dealing with those types of enemies is welcome. It's just that the Scorcher exists and does its job far better in my experience. The problem is that it's hard to land hits on anything because you must do extra calculations in your head, and the enemies keep moving to the sides, away from you, towards you. So you shoot and miss and shoot, and now you're dead from your own gun. And just in case you were curious, no, it can't close holes. From my personal point of view, it just doesn't do anything noteworthy. It stands out, but in a bad way. If I want a shotgun that can penetrate medium armored enemies, I'll take the Slugger. If I want to deal with bot walkers, I'll take the Scorcher. The plasma shotgun requires more effort for either the same or worse outcome. You can one-shot walkers instead of two-shotting them, and you have a lot more ammo, which you're going to waste because you're going to miss a lot. Maybe make the balls bigger or something? Some sort of tiny plasma flame pool that deals damage over time? I'm not sure, but increased ballage can only be good. The last of the primaries in the Warbond is the Arc Shotgun. This one is kind of divisive from what I've seen. On one hand, it's a mini arc thrower that you can use as a primary weapon. A lot of people like the arc thrower. It has infinite ammo, and since it also has heavy penetration and widespread, it can deal with hordes and heavy enemies with enough time. Personally, I don't like it. I can appreciate its strength in dealing with hordes of enemies and even heavy enemies, but I just can't get it to work for me. It always fizzles into the ground or doesn't arc or something. Again, perhaps some skill issue is at hand. But we're here for the shotgun. Is it any good? Well, much like the arc thrower, it fires one burst of electricity per shot and has infinite ammo. The downside is that the fire rate is extremely low, and you can't quick fire it like you can with the arc thrower. It also performs better against some enemies more than others. A small group of basic weaker enemies will die in a shot or two, assuming you get a good arc, or you can focus on one or two bigger boys, but this is where the problems start appearing. At first, I used it against the bugs, and I found it to be kind of not great. It did kill biospheres very quickly, which was a pleasant surprise, and it made me like the gun initially. Warriors went down pretty quickly as well, and even brute commanders could be taken down after a couple of shots, but most of the time I was wishing I had literally any other shotgun at my disposal. It feels a bit buggy, inconsistent. Occasionally I'd shoot a single hunter, point blank, and it wouldn't die or even stumble. That's not good. I think it could use a bit of tweaking, because I'm not sure if that's intentional. I hope it's not. I keep harping on it, but the fire rate being so low kind of ultimately kills it for me. I understand that it's needed for balance, but it's just a bit too slow for my liking. Maybe if it hit like a truck or had a chance to electrify enemies for a second or something. It's alright versus the smaller bugs in small amounts or individual bigger boys, but against a big group it's going to fail you. So then I took it to a bot mission. And I would like to sincerely apologize to my team for my performance if they somehow ever stumble upon this video. Not only did I take the arc shotgun against a faction who fights you mostly at range, I also took the spear. I don't think I could have sandbagged my team any harder if I tried. So that's embarrassing, but what about the shotgun? It does shoot lightning, the bots are made of metal. Easy clap, right? Well, no. The inconsistency of the arcing is still here, but now we're up against even tankier enemies. Enemies that can shoot back. Look at this. I stumble upon a group of 4 basic robots, and I hesitate. I'm not sure if I can take them on my own. 4 robots? That's not good. 2 of them are basic grunts that die instantly, and I'm seriously considering running away to my team. We lost that mission. So, low range, surprisingly low damage, then of course the mass amounts of friendly fire. I forced myself to use a plasma shotgun because I feel like it could be viable, but not with the arc shotgun. I've even tried a weird support gunner build with the MG and a supply backpack, but I just kept using my MG the whole time. Occasionally I would take the shotgun out and go, whoa, and then I switch back. If you enjoy the arc thrower, keep using the arc thrower. The shotgun is just a weaker, more limp version of it. So that's the guns. Alright, the pistol. I don't have much to say. I think this bug died from embarrassment rather than any actual laser damage. Just keep using the Redeemer if you want to kill things. Maybe you can clear mines with the pistol, I don't know. Anyway, the grenade. It's pretty good actually. It stuns every enemy in the game and has a generous AoE. It might take you a death or two before you learn to not throw it at your feet, but after you figure that out, it's smooth sailing. It's good for running away or setting up an orbital strike on a group of enemies. You can even stun heavies with it. The only downside is that you can't blow up bug holes or bot factories, but I'd say that's a good balancing factor. It would be far too overpowered otherwise. It's simple and effective, not much else to say. A good addition, and a nice option if you like supporting your team. The last big thing is the booster confuser thingy. Increases time between enemy reinforcements. As far as I'm aware, nobody is really sure how it actually works. It either reduces the amount of enemies that a patrol can spawn in, or it just makes a patrol unable to summon more reinforcements. And also there's now a rumor that is actually coded wrong, and instead it increases the amount of patrols that you get, so that's cool if that's true. I use it and I couldn't tell you if there was any huge difference. Personally, I prefer many of the other popular boosters. Your mileage may vary. Maybe wait for someone to data mine its effects. And then the armors. 2 mediums and 1 light with the same meme perk. Yay. I think Arrowhead really hates heavy armor users for some reason. Oh well. Some of them look fashionable, I guess. And that's the Warbond, more or less. You know, leaving out the capes and stuff. 1 good primary, a good grenade, and the rest is I guess the game isn't pay to win at least. I'd say it's better than the first Warbond, if only because the Sickle is a straight upgrade over some of the other options you have. Use your super credit responsibly. So, overall, not as great as I'd hoped, but it could have been a complete letdown, so we're hitting a perfect mediocre average. I'll still be using the Sickle and Stun Nade often, but the rest of the equipment is probably going into the forever box. Unless they buff and nerf stuff tomorrow and make this video pointless. And those are my thoughts on the Cutting Edge Warbond. There's a good chance that you might still enjoy either of the shotguns, but after several days of trying to like them, I walked away disappointed. Again, if you like gimmicky guns, you might like them. I'm not the arbitrator of what is and isn't allowed to use in a video game. Either way, I hope this has been helpful to you in some way. Please tell Arrowhead to fix the spear. We're supposedly getting some new things soon, TM, so I'll probably make a video on those when they get released. Hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, throw me a thumbs up and a subscribe if you want to see more Helldivers or just games in general. I do a bunch of stuff, why not check it out? I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
What the? Yeah, your fucking arc.